You know, finding your soulmate is kind of like trying to microwave a frozen burrito with a candle. It takes forever. It's messy, and you start questioning all your life choices halfway through. Hi, I'm Hein with Be Love Media, and today we'll chat about the juncture between the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching, verse 27, and your love life. I'm passionate about helping you align with your highest self, decode ancient truths, and yes, finally stop dating people who ghost you after asking for your Netflix password. Seriously? And if you stick around till the end of this video, I'll share with you the ultimate affirmation to attract your ultimate soulmate. Trust me, true lovers, it's worth it. Before we dive into the Tao, please take a sec to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep buzzing with love and light every week. Let's explore verse 27 of the Tao Te Ching, translated by the always wise Stephen Mitchell. But before that, I would like to share with those of you who this is their first video watching me sharing about the Tao Te Ching and romantic choices, and wondering, wait, why would I listen to this guy with his funny accent? Well, you probably shouldn't, but who you should listen to is Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese sage that wrote the 81 short poems of the Tao Te Ching into what's known as the Tao Te Ching scripture 2,600 years ago. That was the ancient period of the warring states in ancient China, where chaos, war, and conflict ruled the land back then. And as he finally gave up at a late age, apparently, and decided to leave the area he lived in because of all the conflict and the chaos, the border patrol, so to speak, soldier who was allowing him to pass through to the next region knew him, recognized him as the sage that he was, and asked him to put it in writing, what would be a good way to live a life worth living. And so indeed, the sage Lao Tzu decided to do so. And that's how we have now this amazing tool to guide us through life's many options and choices. Specifically, we're gonna focus here in Be Love Media on making wise romantic choices to attract your ultimate soulmate. So for me, that was a long detour of 3 decades of my adult life, all the way to the ripe age of 48, 49, a few years ago, when I found myself at the devastating juncture at my soon to become my 3rd failed marriage, my 3rd divorce. And I questioned, what in the world was it that I was doing wrong that led me, with all the many good intentions I had at an early age of 18, 19, 20, 21, and yet here I was, almost 50, with a broken, shattered path, or so I thought. And it wasn't until I discovered the incredible wisdom of the Tao Te Ching that I decided, what if, as I prepare to heal and to hopefully attract a true soulmate this time, a true love relationship, and not a false love relationship as all my previous relationships were, what if I guided myself through the wisdom of the 81 verses of the Tao Te Ching? And so I launched that path. And 18 months later, from the moment I decided to do so, I met my now wife, best friend, and beloved life partner, Rachel. And I couldn't possibly be happier. And we couldn't be possibly more aligned, but such a vast difference between the choice I made when I met her versus all the previous romantic choices. So let's see how that looks like. Let's explore verse 27, translated by Stephen Mitchell, as I said. Open quote. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets his intuition lead him wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. She is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. This is called embodying the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If you don't understand this, you will get lost, however intelligent you are. It is the great secret. Close quote. Now, true lovers, here are 3 divine downloads from this verse and how they can guide you in choosing and becoming a truly aligned romantic partner. Number 1, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving, meaning be open to the journey of love, not obsessed with the destination. Look for a partner who flows with life, not one who forces timeliness or checks boxes. Soulmate vibes aren't on a spreadsheet. So one thing I love to do is give examples from my own experience, my own rich experience in that area with many painful lessons. So, for instance, one of the things that I noticed early on when I was single and I was doing my best to attract my true love's relationship was how nervous I was before going into a date, whether it was first date, second date, third date, how nervous I was to be able to reach the outcome that I wanted, whether it's to get a second date, whether it's to impress that girl, whether it was to find that perfect person. And that, of course, taints, tarnishes the whole vibe of a date. What would be right is what we learn from this verse. Be open to the journey of love, not obsessed with the destination. I remember at one point, I was dating this young woman, very impressive person, amazing career. She was both an engineer and a healer. So I was like, oh my God, sounds like the perfect combo for a woman, the kind I was looking for. So supposedly, on paper, she was the right one. And as I started dating her, I made a decision, a conscious decision, to not worry about outcomes, but rather to make sure she's having fun. And as an extension, we're both gonna have fun. And sure enough, we went on a journey of about 10 dates, and we had so much fun together. Now, towards the end of that, I was quite clear that she's not the right person for me and ended up breaking it off. And what she told me when I broke it off was very insightful for me, very eye-opening for me, because that was the first time maybe that I didn't focus on outcome, that I just focused on enjoying the moment with her and making sure the date was fun. And she said, but I was having so much fun, as in, it's a shame we're breaking it off. And that was for me a clue. Yeah, one thing I did right there is I focused on the process of enjoying the date, enjoying the connection, enjoying the time together, quality time together, and not whether or not it's gonna go forward, whether or not I'm gonna get what I want from this, but rather, can I make sure she's having fun? So that was a clue for me, despite of that not working out. Number 2, he is ready to use all situations and doesn't waste anything. What does that mean? Choose someone who finds wisdom in the chaos, who sees lessons in mistakes, not someone who throws emotional tantrums when plans change. A conscious partner recycles emotional energy into growth, not drama. One of my favorite stories that I heard was about a certain celeb motivational speaker who was on a safari trip. And in that safari trip, there was another person who was apparently very affluent and was kind of throwing the whole energy of that trip in a negative direction. At one point, that person who apparently paid a lot of money for that trip demanded of the safari tour guide to open the canopy that was covering the truck and was supposed to provide some kind of protection from wild animals, from lions. Well, the tour guide yielded and removed that canopy, and before too long, they found themselves confronted with a lion who was worrisomely was getting closer and closer to the group sitting on that truck. And that person who was sharing that story, who saw that other person forcing everybody to be in danger, instead of panicking, instead of screaming and yelling or running for their life, paused and said to himself, "What an inconvenience." Now, thankfully, nothing bad happens to that group, but the fact that he was able to center himself in what an inconvenience notion versus, oh my God, we're all gonna die. That is what they're talking here. Somebody who finds wisdom in that chaos, who sees lessons in mistakes, and not somebody who throws emotional tantrums. Number 3, what is a good man but bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? Find someone who seeks understanding, not judgment. You want a partner who sees your shadow and still dances with it, not one who ghosts you the minute your inner child shows up crying in sweatpants. So again, somebody who's centered, but for that to happen, you need to become it. I needed to become that. I needed to become somebody who goes with the flow, who sees challenges as opportunities to grow and not as reasons to panic. I remember at one point as I was studying Kabbalah, and one of the fundamental lessons of Kabbalah is something that's called absolute certainty. And what that means, the way I learned it, is that when you have a challenge and it's pretty much seems clear on the surface that certain outcome that you wish for is not going to happen, you can practice absolute certainty in the direction that you want. Now, whether it's going to happen or not does not matter, but your job is to align the energy. And I remember at one point, after learning that tool, I was rushing to some mixer event that happened to have taken place on a boat, on some kind of a small ship. And I looked at the clock and I had like 45 minutes of a drive to get there. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be there on time. But then I learned that tool that I just learned, the Kabbalistic tool of absolute certainty. And I said to myself, you know what? It's a good opportunity to try that. and just like one of those X-Men people who manipulate reality, bend reality with their mind, I just said, I am absolutely certain that I will be there on time or early. And guess what? I wasn't there on time per my watch, but it just so happened that the ship had a 15 minutes delay, which was perfect for me to be able to get on that boat and to participate in that event. And that was mind-blowing for me to see, oh my God, there's more than one way to reach a certain outcome, but I have to align my energy, my certainty with that outcome instead of, oh my God, we're for sure, we're gonna be late. No, there's no way we're gonna be there on time, and then panic the whole way to getting there. So now, as promised, here are 10 affirmations to declare that you are love, so you can attract a love that mirrors that truth. Now, just quick share, when I realized towards the end of my previous relationship with what unfortunately turned out to be my worst relationship. So turns out that my third marriage, instead of being better than the previous one, turned out to be my worst one yet for my lifetime, which meant that I wasn't learning anything from my previous relationships. Everything that I thought I knew about how to attract a relationship, a healthy relationship, forget about true love relationship, just a healthy one, a non-toxic one, was not founded on the right principles. And towards the end of that relationship, as I was still thinking maybe there was a way to salvage it, but I knew one thing already at that point. I realized that the reason it's all taking place is because I have neglected to understand that I deserve love, that I deserve to be loved, that I don't deserve to be yelled at, to have somebody who's looking for reasons to fight every day, to argue, to contradict me, to judge me. But it starts from me not loving myself. And this is a good point to say. When you hear me share about my exes and my past relationships in a way that sounds quite negative, understand that this is not criticism about those other partners that I used to have. This is me at the same time realizing, as a spiritual being, that I was the cause of those realities. I was the cause of those relationships because I was unfortunately a perfect match. For instance, my previous relationship, my last marriage before this blessed one, I was married to a covert narcissist. Those of you who know what that means, look it up. And which means, with all due respect to maybe somebody thinking, oh, you're judging the other person, I was the perfect match at the time for a narcissist. I had work to do. I had shadow work to do that wasn't done yet. And that's why I was attracting all those false love relationships. So the first thing that I decided to do is to plant the seed of me coming to alignment with the insight of I am love. Not just I want to attract love, I am love. And I just kept using that mantra time and time, I don't even know how many times a day, for months and months, until I was able to get my vibration high enough to attract my beloved Rachel. So feel free to repeat after me. I am love in motion. I radiate unconditional love and attract it with ease. My heart is open, whole, and wildly magnetic. I am worthy of deep, sacred connection. Love flows to me because love flows from me. I see love in others because I live it within myself. I deserve a partner who honors my soul. I choose love. I become love. I receive love. I am aligned with the frequency of divine partnership. I am love, and love is me. True lovers, if you got value from today's dive into the Tao and your tender, radiant heart, do us a solid. Like this video, comment your favorite affirmation, share it with your soul-searching friends, and subscribe to Be Love Media so we can keep elevating together. Or don't. But just know your soulmate might be waiting in the comment section. Until next time, remember, you're not chasing love, you are it. Stay luminous, stay ridiculous, and stay be loved.